Good morning. It is 9:03 on a Friday. I can't believe it is already Friday. This week was an interesting week for a lot of people. There was cancellations of school. There was a lot of flooding in Galveston and Houston, even in, areas of Galveston County. You saw that there was a ton of rain, and there was a ton of rain that happened in Winnie and in Beaumont, and a lot of people need help. So if you are able to help, make sure that you do that. We're going to be talking about that just a little bit as it comes up, because I know that's been the topic, but it's nuts. The weather and the rain, you can't really predict it. And there's a lot of memes that go around about Texas weather. If you don't like it, just sit tight because it's going to change in the next 20 minutes. And that's kind of what happened. As these bands of rain came in, there was a lot of unpredictability. I think a lot of people were kind of concerned and confused, like, hey, why did they cancel school, or why didn't they cancel school? That's a tough job to be in those administrative roles and to have those calls. So it's always good to be able to try and support people whenever they make those decisions, and then whenever they don't, or they send them out last minute. But anyways, hey, feel free to share this stream out. We are going to be talking to Pierre Castillo from Top Star Marketing. The third annual Bay Area Houston Women's Conference is taking place. I believe it's October 11th, which is coming up real quick. I had the opportunity to go to the Bay Area Houston Women's Conference last year. It was the second annual, and they had JJ Watt's mom. She was the keynote speaker. This year, I believe there is going to be another amazing keynote speaker, and we got Pierre Castillo in studio who's going to be sharing about that event taking place in a couple weeks. What's up, Pierre? How's it going?
Good morning.
You doing good?
Gardy, I'm doing great. I just got back from Peru.
On a world tour, man. What's the weather like over there? Was there any rain at all while you were there?
So it's the opposite of here, right? Because it's below the equator. So when it's summer here, it's winter down there. Although there's parts of the country that don't really have much of a winter. It's pretty much hot, kind of like Houston. It's a short little winter. But I counted up and did a little bit over 15 cities in 22 days.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That's
including
nuts.
Mexico City. So on my way there, I took a direct flight, and on the way back, I took a day-long layover to Mexico City. So I got to go and eat some delicious food there. I went to a restaurant called La Casa del Toño.
Ooh, okay.
And, oh, my gosh, it was so good. And I ordered, all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm just going to order a taco and, a flauta. And so I could have a little bit of everything. And so then they brought everything out in one plate, not one item per plate. So my whole table was, full. And, the people kept walking by. And they're like, are you waiting on somebody? And I'm like, no, this is just me.
That's awesome.
I enjoyed it. It was so much fun. I've got pictures that I'm going to be uploading over the next couple of weeks and days and stuff. But back here in the U.S., they let me back in. Can you believe it?
Barely.
But it was great. I hadn't had the opportunity to go on vacation in seven and a half years since I started the business.
Being a business owner.
2012.
Yeah, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
How was that? Was it easy to unplug like that?
Or are you still working? That's a great question. A lot of folks have been asking me. They're like, so you how do you feel now that you're back? And honestly, I had a little bit of anxiety right before I left. And then once I was on the plane and I was in another country, it was okay, there's no turning back now. You just have to try to unplug, right?
Yeah.
But thankfully I have a great team that was back here at home holding down the fort and allowed me to just focus on enjoying the beautiful scenic views of Machu Picchu and the beaches and just the great food and all that good stuff. So
awesome.
I'm definitely glad that I did it, and I'm not going to let another 7.5 years go by before I take another vacation. I'm committed to doing at least once every other year at least. I'm going to try to shoot for 2. It's just harder, but like you said, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to kind of be on call 24/7. But ultimately, if we talk about good leadership, you ultimately try to build kind of an infrastructure that allows you to be able to, step aside and let your team take over. And then when you're back, everything is still good and functioning, and
nothing's on fire. Everything's okay.
Right. Well, not, I was I got back and I emailed one of my team members, Kim, our office manager. And I was am I still the CEO, or like have y'all like promoted somebody else?
Actually, the board had a meeting, and we decided that it would be best to let you retire. Something like that.
There's like, okay, really, guys?
Yeah. All right. We're going to go ahead and switch it on to the FM. Again, if you're watching on Facebook, feel free to share this video out. If you have any questions about the Bay Area Houston Women's Conference, let me know. If you were there last year, also let me know. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it's 9:09 a.m. on a beautiful Friday. The rain has cleared, at least for now. I was looking at my weather app, and it looks like there's like 30% chance of rain. I was like, really? Like, we need that. But we got Pierre Castillo in studio from Top Star Marketing. We're going to be chatting about everything going on in Galveston County. Also talking about the very, very amazing event, the Bay Area Houston Women's Conference. It's the third annual. What's up, Pierre?
The third annual. Good morning. Good morning to all the folks listening that are driving in or listening in over the airwaves. A big shout out to all the folks and hoping that they're staying safe and dry, and that, they weren't affected too badly by this crazy weather. I was talking with a friend yesterday, and I was telling her, we have all these advancements in like medical technology and in industry and social media, and like we're so far ahead in all these advancements in technology, but weather-wise, we still cannot predict the weather, and it's 100% true. Like we were hearing the forecast that Imelda was going to do this, and then ended up doing something else, and she
came
kind
back.
Came to Houston, and then like was planning on leaving and came back a little bit and dropped some more rain, and but all that to say is that it's so important for us to be informed and connected about what it means for us to be safe and making sure that we're taking care of our pets and our family, and that we have a plan. And sometimes it takes situations like this for us to like have a conversation with our family about like, hey, if you're in school, or if I need to go pick you up, or what's our backup plan. And so I think these are kind of opportunities where we're tested to see like how good we can prepare and logistics and planning and all that good stuff. But all that more that I think we're definitely a strong community that steps up to the plate when things like these happen, and want to help each other out as brothers and sisters, and what can I do to help. And it was Beaumont and Winnie and those areas that got really affected, but when Harvey came, it was other areas, and there's flash floods sometimes that affect other different areas. And so it's great to see when I scroll through my social media, like people just helping each other out.
I agree.
And so I definitely something that makes me feel proud. But just to make it clear, I did not bring the rain back from Peru. Like,
it wasn't from there.
Not me.
Okay. Because you never know, because you were there for like 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And what's it like down there? You're Peruvian, right?
I am. I was born in Peru, and my family immigrated to this amazing country in 1994, I believe. And
that was a good year.
Yeah, it was a good year.
Yeah.
I think it was. It was like the year of the Olympics or something like that.
And the Rockets won the championship.
Yeah. And then so I was I think 8 or 9 or something like that. So I was a little kid. But I had an opportunity to go to school in Peru, like kindergarten, first, second, third grade, and so it was awesome getting to go back. I hadn't been back in almost 15 years.
Wow.
And so I've only been back like twice since we've moved here. And I on my dad's side, I have a lot of family there, and so I got to see my aunt and my uncles and stuff, and just kind of reminiscing. And what's crazy is they sort of remember me a lot, like as a 9-year-old, as an 8-year-old, right, little kid, and so they're like, "Who is this man?" And I'm like, I'm a little bit older now, but I'm just as goofy. And so, but they tell me stories about stuff that I used to do back in Peru, and like I'm like, no, I did not do that. That is not true. They're like, yeah, that's why we had to send you to another country.
What's the food like over there?
The food is amazing. Peru is one of the top spots for food in the world. There is an association, I can't think of the top of my head the name of the association, but they rank they call it gastronomy, right? Like the cuisines for different foods around the world. And I think since 2013, Peru comes out and ranks number one. And I think it's an association called the World Travel Awards or something like that. But they've got the Peru always ranks number one. And I think they're like like the other countries are like done competing because they're like, oh, like it's gonna be Peru again. It's gonna be 6 years, another, But really, I think it's a diversity of all kinds of different foods that you can taste and try and eat whenever you are looking at the Peruvian cuisine lineup.
Yeah.
That everything from fish to to chicken and rice and potatoes. They have over 1,000 types of potatoes in Peru, and I'm like, I don't even know that.
I know like 2.
Exist.
There's 2.
I'm like sweet potatoes and like
normal potatoes,
and like some like are bigger, and then there's like this, but I'm like at 4 at the most, right?
Yeah.
But there's over 1,000, and so it was amazing. I was like, I took my little thing of like Pepto-Bismol and Tums and stuff, and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm gonna eat it all.
Is it affordable to travel there?
It is.
Yeah.
So the currency is called the sol, which is the sun, because the Incas used to have the sun was like the god or whatever, and so it's called the sol, and you get 3 point, depending on, it goes up and down, fluctuates a little bit, just like the dollar does, but you get about 3.3, 3.4 Peruvian dollars for every
US
American dollar.
Yeah.
So like if you have $100, that's like having 336 Peruvian dollars. And so you're like, oh man,
let's go. That's how you can make that 1 week vacation stretch into the 3 week vacation. Hey, was there at any point where you like, I may not come back, like this is it, I'm gonna make my money last, and I'm gonna just retire here in Peru. I'm from here, the team has it.
So I was thinking like, how can I come here for like a month every single like year?
Yeah.
And so I did think about that, and I don't think I've never had those thoughts while I was here. Like, how can I be in Peru for a month? But when I was there was a couple places, like when we went to the beach and stuff, and we were doing we were swimming with the turtles in this like place that's kind of newer, that they've built this little what's it called? Like it goes out into the beach. I'm trying to think of the name.
Like a jetty?
Like a pier.
A pier.
Like
okay.
And like a pier, like my name, Pierre.
Yeah.
So they built like this like little pier and stuff, and you can go and like swim with the turtles and stuff, and I was like, this is so cool. Like I want to be here. And we were only there for like a half a day, but I like literally wanted to like stay there and be like, can we get a hotel here and I can just be here for a week and I can come out and swim with the turtles every single day, and so but there's so much more stuff to do. And I was like on a tour the first week, and I traveled down there with my best friend, which by the way is her birthday today. She traveled down there with me, so a big shout out to Valerie. She is not just my best friend, but my travel companion who weathered through the Machu Picchu and the tours, and it was crazy. That first week was like we were like shocked, just because we were getting on a bus, getting on a plane, and then going to another city the next day. And then it was like crazy. Yeah. And then the last 2 weeks of my trip, she came back to Houston, but I stayed. And it was a little bit more like calm, cool, and collected. And I was going to see family. And so there wasn't like that pressure of like, I have to be at the tour. And there was like tours that would pick you up at the hotel at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. What? And, if anybody knows anything about me, I don't do anything like 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. Whenever it's so busy and planned out like that, sometimes you need a vacation from the vacation. So it's good you had 3 weeks, because the first week, if you're like doing all the tourism stuff, 4:30, 5:30 in the morning, and then you don't get back till like 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
You need a break after that. So it's just kind of unwind and not have anything like planned out.
Like
just a flow.
Vacation from the vacation.
Exactly.
Vacation is it if you set it up to where you're doing a lot of stuff, it's work. Like, and like getting on a plane and getting off a plane, getting on a bus, getting on a train, and then you have to like check in, you have to be there an hour in advance, and you have to like, it's a lot of work, and at the end of it you're like, oh my God, I'm tired.
Got to go back to work on Monday.
And people are like, how's your vacation going? Relaxed? And I'm like, I don't know if relaxed is the right word.
Yeah, put some work in.
So I think those like that, like you said, the extra time was like perfect, because it allowed me to like, recharge and like recollect myself and all that good stuff. And then of course the stop in the Mexico City on the way back was pretty awesome. But I talked to my friend Val whenever she came back after that 1 week, and I was like, how did it go? And she's like, I slept all weekend because it was the weekend of Labor Day.
Yeah.
And so she was off Monday and she got back like Friday and she was like, I slept most of Friday and Saturday. And so I'm like, all right. And then when I got back, I also got back on a Friday and I was planning on going into the office.
Of course.
And we were busy working on, finalizing the details of our keynote speaker for Women's Conference. And so I was kind of trying to log into email and, get some details squared away. And my dad went to go pick me up at the airport and he's like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I think I'm just going to go home, take like a little power nap, and then I'll be at the office around 2 or 3 o'clock. And he was like, okay. So I went to go take my power nap at like noon or 1 o'clock, woke up at 10 that night. And I like opened my phone and there's like 10 missed calls, 7 messages, all these emails, and like people that had gone to the office. They're like, are you coming in today? And maybe they were thinking like that I had stayed and I wasn't coming back. And they're like, yay, we don't have to answer to that boss anymore.
It's one of those naps when you wake up and you're like, I'm late for school. And it's like, wait.
Yes. I was like dazed and confused. I was like, what's happening? What country am I in?
Did I do my homework?
I wook up in Mexico City. Yesterday I was in Lima.
Yeah.
And where am I today? So
I'm home.
I'm home, but I was supposed to go into the office, and so that whole weekend was like just recharging, resting, and getting ready to come back to work on Monday, and that's exactly what I've been, and here we are because that was just this week. I just recently got back. It feels like I've been here for a while, but I've only been here for a couple days.
What were you doing during the rain events that we just recently got through? Were you able to get to the office, or were you trying to like take it easy or work from home, or?
I work from home. I've got an office at home, and I was like churning away and putting some final touches on a press release that's going to go out next week to do our final push for promoting the Women's Conference, which again we're so excited about, and I can't believe that it's right around the corner. I feel like you guys were coming on the show last season, which was April, May, June, July time, and we were like, oh, Women's Conference,
way
woo!
out there.
And it's like now I'm like, what? It's now.
It's here.
Like I get like this little ding on my email when people buy tickets, and it was like, order confirmed. And I'm order confirmed.
Let's go.
Yes. All right. Wait, that's like happening now.
Yeah. So last year, the Women's Conference, I would consider it a huge success. It was awesome. Can you kind of walk us through what the events were for that? Because y'all had vendors. There was a ton of tables.
Yes. So we had it at Hope Village. It was our second year. Sold out, which was super awesome. We had JJ Watt's mom, Mrs. Connie Watt, who was our keynote speaker. We also had some really cool elements that I will tell you when we went back and looked at the feedback, we were like, oh, how cool that people really they enjoyed Mrs. Watt's speech. But they also, like, some of the favorites was the cooking demo from Chef Mary Bass that she basically put together this like recipe and stuff, and we had like the camera on, kind of like in the Food Network channel, and it was on a big screen, and everybody got to watch and like take notes and stuff. And then at the end, her team came out with what she had prepared, little samples, and people got to eat what they had just seen and taken notes over. It was just kind of a cool little piece. And then we did like a little Q&A that wasn't really planned, but it turned out so well because people were like, so if I want to make the shrimp and I want to marinate it with the blah, 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 and they were doing Q&A, and she's awesome. Obviously, y'all are good friends with Chef Mary Bass. And so because of the success of that, I was like, what do we do? How do we top like a live cooking demo with Chef Mary Bass? Like, who do I get, And so, I talked to Emerald Lagasse, and I was like, I don't know. Like, it's a women's conference. I really want to showcase a woman. And so we decided that, we're just going to let Emerald Lagasse focus on some other things. And we're bringing back Chef Mary Bass. Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. Hey, have you seen she's opened up La Cocina?
Yes.
In Galveston.
Yes.
Also, I saw that she had posted this morning that they took on some water there.
Oh.
So if you're able to give her a hand,
yes,
like
please.
with manpower, then be able, if you're able to do that, that's awesome. So please reach out to her, and any help I'm sure is appreciated. She does a lot for the community.
She does. She's always thinking about how what can I do to help, and I think sometimes folks like that, which I hold near and dear to my heart. I always think like, sometimes we have to stop and think about, what we can do for them sometimes. And so,
Sure.
Definitely a big shout out to Chef Mary Bass, and we're excited about we haven't decided what kind of recipe she's putting together. We just we've been talking via Facebook, like, hey, what's your idea? And I'm like, I think you should do this and blah blah, and I think you should do steak. And she's like, well, you're gonna have to come up with a bigger budget if you want to do steaks. And we're talking about doing maybe some cheese boards and stuff like that. But the cool thing is that folks really enjoy being able to see something visual, take notes, and then finish it with being able to try
it.
And so it's definitely something that we're really excited about in terms of part of the programming that we're bringing back to the women's conference this year. We also had a very successful. We licensed with our friends from Live to Lead that put together a really awesome event. And because it happens to be the same day that we do the women's conference, we actually do a live broadcast of one of the speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we had Carly Fiorina, who was our Live to Lead simulcast speaker. And basically the way that it works is you get to see the speaker. They're not in the room. They're actually in Atlanta, but you see the speech live. And so, you see it as it's happening. And so this year we're excited to be bringing our Live to Lead simulcast speaker, Rachel Hollis,
Mm-hmm.
who is a New York Times bestseller. And I always tell folks, I'm like, go and put Rachel Hollis in on YouTube and just click on any of the videos, and you're going to feel like $1 million 5 minutes after you watch, some of her stuff. And, she's done a whole speaking circuit. Good Morning America has this book called, I believe it's called Girl Wash Her Face or something like that, but it's
important.
It's super. It is important.
It's good advice.
But I think it speaks to kind of this tone of how women, moms and working moms and women that are out there hustling and trying to make things happen, whether they're an entrepreneur or they work somewhere 9 to 5 and have kids and have to do all this stuff. And sometimes they feel kind of defeated or overwhelmed with all the things that they're responsible for and that they have to take care of. And so I think she speaks to this message of sometimes when you feel like everything's been thrown in your face, just go and wash your face and be able to have the courage to get up the next day and keep going. And so I'm excited about the message that she's going to be sharing at the women's conference, because I think people are going to really, really resonate with, one of the things I kind of noticed when I went to Peru and when I've had the opportunity to travel to other countries is, we're a culture that works a lot, and I think that's it's like a double-edged sword. It's a pride point, right? It's something that makes us proud to be able to work, a 10-hour day or a 12-hour day and to be able to do this. And some of the cultures don't operate that way. They're you look at countries like France and all these other cultures that got oh, well, we got to take my 4-week vacation and then I'm about to go on my 6-week hiatus and all this stuff. And so I think for us, we're a superpower as a country. And part of that is because we work a lot. We take pride in that. We love being able to be folks that work a lot. And so I think it's important for women and for all of us to just hear these messages that help us. How do we unplug, right? And how do we reconnect, and how do we charge up those batteries? And how do we do it in a way where at the end of the day we don't feel guilty, oh, I didn't do this, oh, I didn't do this, but kind of where you feel empowered to be I gave it my best, and the next day I'm gonna do the same thing. And then how can I encourage other people around me to be able to do that? So not trying to be Rachel Hollis by any means, but I think that's definitely something that she's going to be bringing to to the women's conference. And so we're excited about that.
I have to give a shout out to my wife. Whenever we were at home because of the rain, not trying to get on the road, it's a lot of work, just being home with the kids and making sure that everybody stays alive. No joke. It's funny to say, but being trapped. And I saw somebody on Facebook, one of my Facebook friends, kind of say, hey, you see a lot of companies go on strike. As a stay-at-home mom, I'm not allowed to go on strike. If I did, what would happen?
Right.
It could be bad. And so there's a lot of ladies, you work hard, even if you're like a stay-at-home mom or you have a career, you are in a different phase of life. I don't know, but there's a lot of ladies out there who work really hard. Speaking of the Bay Area Houston Women's Conference in general, like who is it specifically for?
So, what we found last year is, we thought kind of in our heads, like it's going to be like, kind of the working mom that really, our conference is designed for. What we found is we really have a diverse group that attend. And obviously the working moms are part of that group, but we also have, entrepreneur moms that are, or women, maybe not moms,
right?
But we also have young professionals that have just started in their career and are trying to figure out, like, how do I balance this, like, social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. How do I get my name out there, and how do I deal with my boss that's from a different generation? And so we're talking about the young professionals that are in a workforce where they've got colleagues that are sort of in the same age bracket, right? Like your 25 to 35 age bracket, but their boss is in the 45 to 55 age bracket. And, what are kind of the implications in the workforce behind being able to deal with boss, both male and female, that are from a different generation, right? That have expectations about, coming to work on time, or, the way that you dress, and, casual jeans on Fridays, and, just different things that ultimately shape the way that you feel about where you work and how long you end up working there for, right?
Yeah.
And so, we've got that. We also have the entrepreneur moms that are trying to balance starting the business, kind of like we've been talking about, and then can't really take off because they've got kids and they've got a husband, or maybe a single mom, right?
Trying to date, or not,
right?
yeah.
Or trying to figure out, like, what's next for me? I'm gonna, like, raise my kids, or and then we also get what I think I don't know if this is the correct term, but they're called empty nesters.
Yeah.
So parents, moms that have, basically kind of dedicated their lives to raising their kids, and the way I hear it is, like, they sort of build an identity around that, right? Like, they're so used to hearing mom 24/7, and then they turn 18 or they go off to college, and then all the kids do that, and then the house is empty, and then you don't hear this, like, mom all the time, right? Or you have to call your kids and be like, how are you doing? And, check in with them. And so it's like an evolution to, like, sort of, like, go through that process and figure out, like, what does my identity look like now? I've spent the last 20 years or 25 years. And then all that's something, like, personally, like, my parents, like, went through recently when my youngest sister, she moved out, and then it was just mom and dad at home, and they'd spent, 33 years, which is how old I am, being parents, and kind of you just build this, like, this identity around that. And so, but my parents are young. I consider them young. They're in their 50s, and so, like, they still have another 50 years, God willing, that they can still rock and roll. And so, I think, Kelly Williams, who has a show here, at one point was doing this empty nesters, like, blog video thing where she would have other moms that were going through the same thing and just talking it out. And absolutely love that, because I'm like, this is something that people can connect with. And I think at the end of the day, the women's conference is sort of kind of a day where you're going to get really great content. You're going to be able to see great speakers. We have great sponsors that help kind of enhance the experience. But it's also a great day for connecting and creating connections with folks that sometimes, because we're in the busy run of busy lives, we don't see that there's a lot of other folks within our sphere, within our domain, that are going through the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And another mom that lives down the street that also just became an empty nester, and you didn't know that, but they meet each other at the women's conference, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, this is happening to me too. So I think one of the things that we really love about, what's happened with the event as it's grown, is that there's a lot of connections that are made with people that are within your community.
Yeah, it's a huge networking event, and I didn't realize that. Whenever we went there, showed up, didn't really know what to expect other than having seen the building, space before, and knowing Chef Mary was going to be there, Christina Wells was going to be there, and Pierre was going to be there. But I got there and everybody was. I was like, hey, I know, Impact. Hey, everybody's here. Like, what's going on? It was like a big reunion of sorts.
Yes.
But also able to meet a ton of new people, and it was really cool. It was really cool.
We had Christina Wells. I think that's where you guys got to meet Christina Wells, who is a good friend of ours and is a great supporter, just like we're a supporter of all the things that she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And and I know that she's got new projects that she's working on. And I touch base with her. Hi, how's it going? What can I do to support you? What can you do to support me? And she had just come off of the America's Got Talent. And we weren't sure, depending on how far she got, if she was going to even be in town. But, fortunately, she was able to be there. And one of the cool things that we do is during lunch, we have up like a music or an entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, we're still working on it. So I can't announce it quite yet.
Pierre, is it going to be you? Because I know you got some pipes. I've seen the videos over you at, I don't know, it looks like Waterworld, but out there in Katy.
Typhoon, Texas?
Yeah, and you're over there like holding it down with the dance moves. If it is you, I will not be mad. I'll actually be very happy.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad that you keep saying, talking like you're going to be there, because a lot of people don't know that men can actually attend the conference. And I got to tell you, you get some major props so we basically set out 2 tables that are called the gentlemen's tables. And so it's limited amount of tickets, but if you're a guy and you're watching and you're listening, you can attend the women's conference. And I always say, like, what better way to spend your day than surrounded by all these ambitious and super nice, hardworking women that are that have goals and want to learn and want to grow.
I learned a lot,
and it's just awesome. It's just a great day. And so our gentlemen's table is going to be back again this year. We are changing venues. We're going to South Shore Harbor Resort and Conference Center, which we're really excited about because it's a perfect place to be able to go and spend a day and enjoy it with your friends. And so and including the guys too. We want to invite them and welcome them. I don't know if we have any guys that are watching. You have mostly a women fan base, KHEA, right? Or
at times.
Or do you have
it
men
shifts.
too?
I'm sure there are. I saw Brendan Keys. He was on here. Obviously, intern Ethan. We got Rudy.
Ethan, yeah.
Jordan.
Rudy Salcedo. Good morning to him.
Yeah, Anthony Macaluso. And
there
there's
you go.
Some other gentlemen too. But
Brendan. Brendan Keys?
Yeah, Brendan Keys.
Anthony? Yeah. So you got people, and then we got Jason Miller, who's is my ex-neighbor. I don't know if how you call it. He's my neighbor. Former neighbor.
Ex sounds weird. It's just like there was a bad breakup or something. But
there wasn't.
We just moved. Yeah. It's not you. It's the facility. It's the house. That's funny.
Yes. Shout out to him and. So let's talk about the keynote.
Okay.
Because we just announced the keynote on Wednesday or yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The days are kind of running in together because of this crazy rain.
Yeah.
It was like, what? So we, were thinking of I want to, I kept saying after we had Connie Watt last year, I went back and told my team, I'm like, I want
Michelle Obama.
Yes.
Who else do you go from there,
I want Michelle Obama. Yeah. She told me not this year, Pierre, but maybe next year I might come back. So we were thinking about who do we bring of somebody that is a record breaker,
mm-hmm.
but also has sort of their life/career ahead of them, somebody that maybe achieves kind of a record not in their 50s, but super young. And I was like, okay, so it needs to be somebody that that's won an award or an Olympian or somebody like that, but that did it young.
Mm-hmm.
And then you achieve that at 16 or 18 or 20, and then you're like, what now?
Next?
What do you do after you win gold at the Olympics? So all that to say, we talked to a couple different people, and we finally landed on the perfect person, which is Carly Patterson, who is the U.S. Olympic gold medalist from 2004. One of the interesting things is a lot of people know the name Mary Lou Retton, who won the Olympics back in 1984. However, Carly Patterson was the first woman in 20 years after her that won gold. In the other interesting thing that I didn't know, I've just been learning about all this stuff too, is that it was the first non-boycotted Olympics, and some of the countries that boycotted the Olympics were the countries that typically exported the top winning gymnast in the category, right? So it's not to say that Mary Lou Retton or some of the other ones hadn't, but basically the playing field was as tough as it could get.
Everybody was there.
Everybody was there.
Yeah.
And so, and then in the past, in the countries that had typically not attended were the countries that were winning.
Yeah.
And,
and then they could say, well, we weren't there. We
weren't there. Correct. And so, so it was a pretty big deal for Carly Patterson to win the Olympics because it was a non-boycott. Everybody attended, and she won gold. And so, but I think the neat thing is that since then she's become a singer-songwriter, and I can't wait to just hear her story, because she's going to talk a little bit about the theme for this year is creativity, and part of it is not just creativity in terms of oh, can I color inside the lines, or can I make this pretty picture or whatever. And I think when I thought of creativity, when our team thought of creativity, it wasn't like a Bob Ross kind of creativity, like paint this beautiful scenic thing. It was more of how do I dedicate myself to being innovative so that I can achieve the milestones that I've set for myself, but then not feel like I've arrived and then I don't know what to look forward to. And what better person to sort of speak on that than a person that's sort of achieved one of the top things you can achieve in the world, which is win gold in the Olympics. Excuse me. But also then be able to say, what's next for me? Do I become a singer?
Yeah.
Do I become a writer? Do I go to Hollywood? Do I become a teacher? And so I think she's really gonna be able to kind of share with us kind of that message of empowerment and creativity and innovation in terms of how we deal with achieving success, and then sort of redefining what that vision of what success means and stuff. And so I'm excited.
That's awesome. See, I have some friends who have won some big awards, and they think, man, I'm going to find my happiness. I'm going to find my joy is in winning this Grammy or winning. I have not had the opportunity to meet an Olympian, but I can see that, hey, my everything is there. So what do you do after?
Yeah.
Yeah, and being able to shift that vision, that goal, and then kind of keep going, especially at a young age, because their life is that. I saw, Dr. Phil sat down with Bam Margera, and he was on a TV show. He was a professional skateboarder at a young age, and after that, he got on that show doing really dumb stuff, and it was success. But then he spiraled into alcoholism and drugs because he was like, well, what do I do now? And then had a friend that passed away, and it was just kind of spiraled out of control.
Right.
So being able to shift that vision and find well, I did everything that I wanted to do. Life's not guaranteed. What just go with the flow, I guess. But that's going to be awesome.
Right. No, we're definitely excited because we've been thinking about how do we bring somebody that can really drive a message of we have folks that live in our community. We're right across the street from NASA, and in Houston, which is the medical capital of the world, right? And so we have top performing people in general, astronauts and physicians and doctors and people that I think sometimes spend a lot of time working, get to the top of their careers, and then I don't know, maybe arrive at that point and feel like what do I do now, and or also I think something that Carly's going to speak to as well is what does it look like to dedicate and sacrifice yourself for so many hours day in and day out, and what kind of things do you have to like John Maxwell says, in order to move up, you must give up, right? And so there's some things that you have to give up, that you have to sacrifice in order to go to the next level. And how do you determine what those things are? And how do you know, like, what's the limit on that? Like, okay, have I sacrificed enough, or do I need to keep going? And so I think that there's something to be said about the importance of kind of knowing what that balance is. And I certainly don't have the answer, but I think Carly's definitely going to speak to that in her time that she spent. I mean, if you are the person in the world that wins gold, and then you've had to put in your time, to be able to do that. Yes. I want to give a quick shout out to Joe Perez, who's watching. Our good friend Joe Perez, who also happened to be at the women's conference last year at the gentleman's table. And so big shout out to you, Joe.
Man, we did share that table. I want to sneak around, though. Like last year I had to go, say hi. And I was like, man, there's so many interesting people. And just like being able to network. And but yeah, the dude's table is cool, too. But maybe I can sneak and have some time to.
No, there's gonna be networking time, and there's gonna be opportunities for people to walk around and stuff. We're gonna have a silent auction. We're excited that we already have a big chunk of our partners from last year that are going to be part of the conference this year, including Amico Federal Credit Union, Ashley Home Store, Kendra Scott, just partners that I think help enhance the event. And we're gonna have giveaways. We're gonna be giving away. I think we're giving away some furniture. Awesome. I mean, it's gonna be really cool.
That's really cool. That is amazing. So right now it's 9:44. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I see a question was asked right now, and this is from Linda. She said, "Is it too late to be an exhibitor at the conference? I tried the online registration. Is that something that people can still purchase tickets and be an exhibitor at?"
That's a good question. We have not done vendors in the past. That's something that we open up for sponsors.
Okay.
If they choose to, but there's a way. So I would say to whoever is asking to contact me directly, and I can put my email down here. It's Pierre, Pierre at topstarmarketing.com. And I forgot to mention the most important thing, which is two things. One, we're going to give you guys a pair of tickets that you can, not for y'all. No, not for y'all. No. You go to the website and register yourself.
Okay.
But for a lucky listener, we're going to give away a pair of tickets so that they can attend the conference. And so you guys figure out how you want to do that giveaway.
All
but
right.
We're going to be doing that. And then the second thing is you can go to HoustonWomen'sConference.com and get your tickets. It's easy to sign up. VIP tickets typically sell out pretty quickly. And I actually saw that 2 came in this morning and stuff. And so those will go out, and I'm guessing that by next week we'll be sold out of that. But general admission tickets typically those are plenty available. We also have a platinum ticket option this year that we're rolling out. And basically it gets you access to a VIP dinner that we do with our keynote speaker. And so you get the opportunity to basically not just take a photo with the speaker, but a meet and greet,
sit down
and be able to ask questions and stuff. And that typically takes place the night before. So we've got that platinum admission that also comes with some really cool swag from our sponsors. So HoustonWomen'sConference.com is where you can get your tickets. And if one of you guys can put the link down there.
Okay, we will.
And then that's how you get your tickets.
All right. So last year it was in Friendswood. This year there's a venue change. It's going to be at the South Shore Harbor Resort
and Conference Center in League City.
Is that where the gingerbread unveiling was last year?
Yes.
That was fun too.
Yeah,
that's a great venue.
Y'all need to come out for that again.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
When is it? November? December?
Yeah, it's in November.
Has to be November before Christmas because it needs to be up. I don't know. That always confuses me. It's why is Christmas start? Oh, it's okay.
That's a lot of fun, isn't it?
It was
a huge gingerbread house.
Yeah, there was the Nutcracker crew was there in costume. Santa Claus was there.
It was pretty cool. I think that's one of the favorite events people like to take their kids to and be able to see the unveiling. And so we're excited because that's going to be happening as well.
So if somebody hasn't been to that South Shore Harbor Resort, where is it? It's straight up South Shore, right?
Yep. It's in League City. It's off of South Shore Boulevard. And so if you take 96, whether it's from 146 or 45, it's right in the smack middle.
Yeah, and you just go north and you kind of run into it. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't have a choice.
Yeah. Why did you pick that venue?
So we basically were at about 300 something attendees last year. and the room could hold about 350. And so we were like, if we want to continue to grow, I mean, the first year, I think we had 150 folks attend, and then we more than doubled that the second year. And so we're like, at this rate, we're going to need to go to a place that can fit 400 people if, if we sell that many tickets. And so, and beyond that as well, because I think we can go up all the way up to like 500 or 600. And so there really is, there's not a lot of venues in the Bay Area that can hold a conference, day-long conference with food, kind of sort of like take care of everything in the way that South Shore does. And so
they're set up with the kitchen and the facilities, the
restaurant,
and parking,
they got
everything.
Yeah, so they're sort of like built out for a conference like that.
And a swimming pool.
So
you never know.
It was funny when we send out our our offer letters for speakers or folks that are going to talk or VIPs. We're like, we would host you, and part of that you get to stay at South Shore Harbor Resort and Conference Center. And I think honestly, people go and because we put the website into the offer letter and stuff, people go in there and look, and they're like,
let me see the
That's
rooms.
where I'm gonna stay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the pool, the hot tub, awesome
Gives me
restaurant.
negotiation power.
Yeah, it does. That's cool. So we got
Better than
about
staying like a Super 8, right?
Oh yeah. I need a staycation there. I honestly don't live too far from there.
Yeah, but a staycation's amazing. It lets you unplug.
Yeah,
I think we can make it happen.
I don't have that pool. Like I need that pool. That's the main thing that I
know
need.
a guy.
Okay. Yeah, you see, Pierre, I can learn a lot from you. And first of all, putting on events is one of them. What are some things that you have learned? And you have put on a lot of events before the first annual Bay Area or the first inaugural Bay Area Houston Women's Conference. What are things that have changed, I guess, that have learned and shifted from the first year to this third annual one?
So I've been in the event marketing space for 15 plus years now, and we really, as a company, we do 2 in-house productions. The rest of them are things that we do for clients, but the 2 in-house productions are LeaderCast, which was this year that unfortunately got rescheduled because of the weather. But we are planning on coming back in 2020. Let's go. As a matter of fact, I just got an email the other day that was like, Andy Stanley will be featured in LeaderCast, and I'm like, of course, because Andy Stanley is there every year, but he's amazing, so that's definitely a good sign. And then the second event that we produce in house is the Women's Conference, and I think one of the things that we've learned is when we think about an event as far as like creating it around a purpose or a theme. That has been, I believe, sort of beneficial because it sort of allows me to add elements into it between our team and our sponsors that are in line with the message, with the purpose. So, so last year it was compassion. The first year it was bravery when we had Lizzie Velasquez, and this year it's creativity. And so we actually put together between us and our advisory board a 6-year strategic plan that was really like 6 themes. So next year we already know what our theme is, and in the following year we already know what our theme is.
Can we get a hint for next year's?
No,
because this is creativity, right?
Yeah, this is creativity.
So
next year will be a different theme.
Bravery, compassion,
right?
Creativity. I'm trying to see if there's A, B, C. No, maybe okay. So if it's one letter, it may start with a D. So yeah, bravery. Then there's 2 C's.
I think a lot of them start with C and stuff. I need to go back and take a look. But the cool thing is for the next 6 years, or really for the next 4 years, we know what our theme is, and so we build around that. I think that's one of the things that I think is sort of top of mind for me whenever we think about the production of an event. It's not just let's just do an event and like sell tickets and let's see who shows up. Like we sort of have like a method to the madness, if you will, right? And then I think the second thing that's been sort of super important for us that I think has netted, positive results is that we really always think about the attendee as like tier 1 priority. And so a lot of times what I see, and it's not to be critical of anyone, it's just what we see sometimes is that people put tier 1 on sponsors, or they put tier 1 on like the budget of the production company, and they sort of tier 1 everybody else, and the attendee gets like whatever is in the budget or whatever will work, and people attend these events where they're being sold to from stage. Like these speakers that just go up there to sell books, or speakers that go up there to sell a seminar. And like, we've traditionally not bought into that. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't in the future. It just means that we haven't, because when we tier one the guest, I think about like, how do I make the attendee have an experience that makes them say, I am 100% satisfied that I took off a day of work, right, to come to this event. 2, I'm satisfied with my financial investment in my ticket. And most important, 3, I'm going to tell my friends and family about it, because next year, not only am I coming back, but I'm bringing a friend. And so when I think about that, there's also opportunities to do things where I have to kind of draw the line and say, that doesn't really fit within kind of the purpose and the strategy that we're trying to build this event around. And so we've sort of subscribed to that. And at the end of every event, we always seek feedback, and we talk to our sponsors, we talk to our attendees, we talk to our folks, and we do surveys, and I read those. And sometimes you get feedback that's they critique it and things that they don't like. And so you have to listen to that and weigh it in and say, like, you know what? They're absolutely right.
Is that easy to learn to do? Like, because
no,
taking criticism is not my favorite thing, but it happens.
Right. It 100% happens. But I think if you really committed to growing your project, your event, your show, like whatever it is that you're working on, you basically say, like, look, this is sort of an uncomfortable like process to go through, but the value of the process is greater than the discomfort that I'm about to go through.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I try to think about it. But does it become any less comfortable with time? No, I will tell you that, it's frustrating sometimes, because you have those days where you feel like I'm never going to be able to make everybody happy. But you have to find a little bit of like comfort in knowing that's okay. It creates an ongoing process where you're always getting better.
But if you did have to make somebody happy, it would most likely be the general customer, right? That's,
of course,
they're tier one.
They're tier one, yes. And it's not that the sponsors aren't important, because trust me, I love my sponsors, and the only reason why the event can financially be possible is because of our sponsors. But the sponsor has an objective, and the attendee also has an objective, right? And so typically the sponsor, what they want to do is they want to brand themselves, and in some degree they want to sell their service or their product. So what I have to do is I have to take that objective and marry it with the objective of the attendee. The attendee is there to learn, to network, and to get better. And so I have to marry those two objectives together, and that's where I have to say, like, we can do this or we can't do this, or and that's kind of what I think makes us a little bit different as an event than some of the other events. I go to events all the time, and so I'm always looking and observing, and I'm like, okay, that I would not do that at my event. Or I go and look, and I'm like, I would definitely do that at my event.
Yeah, always learning.
So you have to just front load the conversation, right? And so when we talk with our sponsors, we're like, I want to brand you. I want to make you endearing. I want to make you the elite furniture company. I want to make you the elite financial institution of this event. But the way that we're going to do that is we're going to enhance their experience with your brand. How can we make that happen? And so last year we had a small little VIP lounge that's going to grow this year. And we're hoping to partner with Kendra Scott and maybe our friends from Macy's to be able to come out and help enhance that VIP lounge with some massages and some things like that. And so, kind of back to my original point, it's always, if I tier one the guest and the customer, they're going to be sort of the force that helps amplify the event from year to year. So HoustonWomen'sConference.com is where you get your tickets. We're so excited to have you guys, and we're looking forward to it.
I am too. I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to going back to Macy's with you, because when you walk in,
we need to go back
to Macy's with Pierre Castillo, you get shown the red carpet treatment. They're like, "Here, sir, is there anything you would like?" And I'm like, "What's
you get
going
to go
on?
to rooms that you didn't even know existed,
exactly,
right?
That happened.
Like, this way, sir." And you're
that
like,
happened.
I've been to Macy's multiple times and didn't even know that they just put that, because you what? What's
random
going on?
elevators show up in offices, and you just start meeting people. It's really cool. It was fun.
Well, I got to tell you, since you're going to be one of the attendees, you're a tier one guest. So we're going to tier one.
All right. Yes.
Gardy, thank you so much for having me here.
Me and 399 other guests, we're all tier 1, right?
Yeah. Well, with the platinum ticket now, that's
different.
I've got a tier. I don't know what's higher than tier 1.
Tier 0.
Tier 0.
Just
It's like,
you don't even get it out. Yeah. Well, thank you for hanging out, Pierre.
of
You're
course,
awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
We're going to take a quick break on the FM. When we come back, we're going to have my good friend Buster from the Good Old Boys podcast. We're going to learn, am I a good old boy? Do I count? I don't know if I do enough good old boy stuff.
Good old boy.
I'm a good old boy, right?
I think so. You're like 10 times more beloved than me. And you're like, oh, Pierre, you're so awesome. But I guess, I don't know, awesome. What's the word? It's not behooves. It's when you replicate, when you like birds of a feather flock together kind of thing.
Exactly.
I think that
I agree.
I'm awesome because if I am awesome, it's because I hang out with you.
Well, thank you.
So there you go.
You're too kind.
Congratulations on your 40 under 40. That's so awesome.
Well, thank you.
And I don't qualify because I'm like 57 or something like that. So maybe next year.
Next year you got it.
I'm gonna change my age.
Whatever it takes. It's 9:59. Taking a quick break. We'll be back. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM.
And checking out Abundant Life.
All right.
I have so much fun.
Hey, it's October the 11th.
Yes.
The Houston Bay Area Houston Women's Conference. So make sure that you go get some tickets. HoustonWomen'sConference.com. You can actually put /tickets and go straight to it. So, thank you, Pierre.
I'll be in touch.
All right. So, again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them on this stream. I'll answer them if I can. I'll have Ethan answer them if he can. And you know what? My good friend Pierre will probably answer them whenever he can as well. So we're going to be switching it up a bit, talking to Buster. What's up? How's it going?
Oh, great, man. I'm here with you.
All right. So first I want to ask, how did your Imelda weather journey go?
Well, got off of work early. Did some pulled barbecue chicken. I did some fajitas, and I baked a pie. So it went pretty well, and I got to play with my kids and everything. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, because they would cancel school.
They canceled school. Well, they had school, and then they canceled school, and then they my work. I was out working. I was walking around a unit in the rain and everything, and the lightning, and all of a sudden they were like, "Yeah, we're going to cancel work today." So head on home. How'd y'all fare?
You know, we did good. They canceled school beforehand. You know, a lot of the times people complain. It's an interesting situation to be in, to make that situation, because they say if you do it and it doesn't rain, then there's an issue. But if you don't and then it rains, like, it's bad.
You're in trouble either way.
Yeah.
But it's all your perspective of it and what how do you look at it? For me, all right, I took the kids to school. Then I got to come home and I got to play with my kids and do that. And people just, man, it's perspective of it.
Yeah.
That's a hard call to make, especially with nobody saw what was going on, getting ready to happen. I don't think anybody did with a 10-minute warning on Tuesday or Monday.
That was it?
Yeah.
I've never, not that I can remember, seen anything like that.
No.
Like, hey, there's a tropical depression storm, and then it's like, it's here.
And
What
then
do
it
you do?
turns around and comes back.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous, and that's hard to predict. You don't have models for that.
Yeah. So I remember during Harvey, like, and we used to live in the same subdivision, in League City.
Yeah, we miss you.
There was I'm still in the group. Don't tell anybody.
Oh,
just so I can kind of see what's going on.
You're a sleeper.
I am. But it's fun.
I apologize then for anything I've posted on that.
Facebook neighborhood groups are an interesting place.
Oh, they're golden.
Yeah.
They are so
it's a different
interesting
set of rules that apply there. It's not in real life rules. Like Facebook, Facebook rules and then Facebook group neighborhood rules.
Oh,
it's different.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That's no limit on that one.
Yeah,
they play prison rules.
Yeah, because you'll say things that you would never say in real life.
Or at the bus stop or anything like that. Well, I'm kind of open. I'll tell you how it is. So.
Oh, man. But I remember Harvey, the neighborhoods coming together, and just like being able to help people, help neighbors, and you were definitely one of those people who led the charge.
Yeah, man.
Why is that?
I grew up in a little small Cajun town. So when a hurricane came or things like that, you did two things. You helped your neighbors and then you had a party.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're checking on your neighbors, making sure everyone's okay. And during that time, I mean, think about it. We've got everybody that's sitting in their house. Their kids are all there. They're going stir crazy. All right, what can we do?
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfect time. People are going to need things. They're going to need clothes, supplies, things like that. Let's get everybody together. Somebody's got to take charge. And I just happen to take charge. I think of something like, hey, I know a bunch of guys. Let's get going. Let's start collecting. Let's start distributing. My poor wife is at the mercy of my spur of the moment action. So, but it's just a way to help everybody. Let's get everybody together. Teamwork. I made some great friends out of that, and people that I've known and contacts. And we were able. God, so many runs we did to different places at the time. So.
Yeah, your wife, she owns a business too, right?
Yes, she does.
What is it?
The KHEA Cow with her partner Melissa Cox, and where their business is Fashion and Philanthropy, where they have grown and they've grown, and what they do is they pick a certain nonprofit or a community or somebody to give back to, and they give a portion of their proceeds back through shopping. So Fashion and Philanthropy. It
works.
Oh yeah, it is. To watch these two women grow and this was supposed to be a little side business for them, and it has just blown up. And now it's like we got the family involved. I'm running back end stuff for them. Melissa's husband's doing some things on the other side with projects we have going on. The girls are just killing it. They have their ambassadors, school shows. It's amazing. I'm so proud of them.
How did they come up with that name? What does it mean, the KHEA Cow?
So between my wife and her business partner, we have 9 kids. No, 7, and 2 husbands, which act
They
like
count,
twins.
yeah.
So they always talk about like their little calves. And so whenever they came up to it, the name just kind of came up, the KHEA Cow, because they had all their little calves. They always teased about that. So that was the name of it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
And you can follow them on Facebook. Sorry.
The KHEA Cow.
Yeah. And KHEAcow.com. So check them out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to go ahead and switch it over, go on the FM. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to share this video out. If you have any questions, also ask. If you're watching on Channel 46, call and tell a friend to tune in, and we appreciate you taking the time. I want to hear how y'all fared in the weather. If you're watching on social media, let me know. What did you go through? Were you able to help? Kind of just hunker down or still like work as usual? So we're going to switch it over to the FM. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it is 10:05. I have a special guest in studio. I have Buster in here. We're going to talk about the Good Old Boys podcast, which I love the name. Buster, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Whenever I think of a good old boy, I think, and I'm going to say this name, but I think of like Bubba.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can you define to me what is a good old boy?
Well, the way that I've defined this is a good old boy. He's not any certain person. We do think of Bubba. We might think the cowboy, the redneck, the Cajun, anything like that. But he is just that guy that goes beyond the help. You can borrow. He has the tool you need. He knows how to fix something. He's willing to help. He's just a good guy that you can depend on. So and I've done a podcast, there's no race, creed, color, anything like that, nationality. I mean, I've got good old boys from India and England and Canada and America and all over the place. So.
Just someone willing to help go above and beyond.
Yeah, just a service-minded individual, good soul, but likes to have a good time and can enjoy themselves. So that's it, and we got a bunch of them out there.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're not originally from here. Where are you from?
I'm from a little town called Cutoff, Louisiana, best known for the hometown of Bobby Hebert. So
okay.
And if you don't know where Cutoff is, it is look at New Orleans and go straight south till you hit water. Go a little further, and that's Cutoff.
Is that why they called it that? It's like, this is the cutoff. You can't go any further south than this.
My understanding is pretty much it's like cut off from the world.
Stop, yeah.
But my history lesson is that the name got it from a certain battle where they cut off the troops during the American Revolution, and it was a section of that. So it's from where like Jean Lafitte was from.
Okay, cool. And when did you end up coming this way?
About 10 or 11 years ago. I was working in Cutoff, and the job I was working kind of fizzled out, and I was dating my wife, and she's from League City. Mm-hmm. And so I said, hey, we've been dating all of 2 minutes. How about I move over your way?
Let's go.
And she was like, let's go. Come on.
Yeah. So when I hear League City and then I hear the little bit about Cutoff, it seems like they're pretty different. How was that transition over here?
So for cutoff, and it's so funny when my wife first came down, she's like, "Is there a cute little downtown and everything?" I'm like, "No, there's like a bayou and there's a highway on one side and a highway on the other, and then there's marsh all around." So coming here was really nice because, oh wow, everything's around here. I don't have to drive like an hour to go to a Home Depot or anything like that. Restaurants, all of it. We had one restaurant that we go to all the time, and we'd do that for homecoming, prom, your birthday, good grades, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Jesus' birthday, any of those.
Same restaurant, right?
Same restaurant. You went, and I knew what I was getting. So
what was the name of the restaurant?
it was called The Balcony, and it was so funny. It had been there forever. My dad helped the people start the business, had been there just for the longest time, and it was where we went the whole time. So.
Was it like country cooked food or like Cajun food?
Oh, it was Cajun food all the way. It was like fried shrimp, gumbo, etouffee, but then they had steaks and hamburgers and things like that. So it was just great.
Yeah, growing up over there, are you pretty particular about the Cajun food or like crawfish and that kind of stuff you eat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd rather cook it myself. I'll just say that around here. There's a few people I know that can do really well cooking. There's a few. For me, the crawfish thing is a very sensitive subject, and I tend to
just do it yourself, huh?
Yeah, I do it myself because I'm not a fan of the crop dust, and I have an episode about this cooking crawfish, and like, please don't crop dust. So I'm just going to put that disclaimer to your listeners.
So, is there anywhere around here that you've gone and you'd be like, okay, that's pretty good. They know what they're doing.
Yes, two places. One is Creeders. Have you ever been there?
Not yet.
Oh God, that old boy's from Sulphur, Westlake area, and he does it amazing. He's a great cook. And then surprisingly, the other one is Cajun Greek down in Galveston.
Yeah.
I had their crawfish, and they were really good. I ended up in the kitchen talking with them.
Just like knocking on the door, like, I got to get back here.
Yeah, I got to talk
what
to
you're
y'all.
doing. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, tell me what you're doing.
That's awesome. I love crawfish, and one of the things that I enjoy about it is whenever you go to a crawfish boil, you can't play. I mean, you can play with your phone, but if you do, you're going to make a mess. Like, even if you go to a restaurant and you have a table with crawfish on it, it's just two people or a family at a table. You got to put the electronics away because it takes. If you had four hands, it would take all four hands, to be able to eat and do it. It's an experience.
It is. And, while you're doing it, there's always something for someone to do. You've got this big pot. Hey, man, help me move this ice chest, or can you grab that for me? Or you can get everybody involved. My favorite thing is when you have all the crawfish soaking in a tub or somewhere, and you get all the little kids around, and you get them to hold a crawfish, or you kind of
playing with it,
or you scare them with one, and you do a crawfish race, just something like that to get everybody going. A kid will be running around to their parents, look, Mom, I got a crawfish.
I had a friend who had never had crawfish. They're not from here.
Ooh.
And they had it last year for the first time, and it was at a restaurant, but the restaurant knew, so they brought out one. He was like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? What's going on? Grown man. Grown man, just like acting like a little kid. It was really funny, but just not being from the South or this area, he had never experienced that.
Have you seen the story where there's a place up north where apparently crawfish are becoming an invasive species, and they don't know how to handle it? And I'm like, I've got like two ideas. One, let's throw a party. Two, let's bring the pots. So
yeah.
And they were like, they're just overrunning ditches and everything. And it's like, catch them and cook them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Would that harm anything if they're like?
Dude, those things multiply and so fast. I mean, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
But I'm not a
marine ditch biologist.
I'm not what would be the? Well, I don't know what it is, but I'm not one of those guys. So I just like catch them, cook them. That's what we grew up doing. So
yeah, there has to be a good old boy out there who is whatever that title is, that marine ditch biologist that knows, be like, well, here's why we need to eat more crawfish.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Yeah. Who are some people that you've had on the podcast, the Good Old Boys podcast, that kind of stick out in your mind?
I've had our good friend Perry. On
Perry Brooks.
Oh yeah, that Prince of a Gentleman. Talk about like service. That guy was really good. He's helped me out on a few things for some fundraisers and things we want to do. He was really interesting to talk to. I've had Jared Williams, who you had on recently. Just great getting to talk to him. I've had a couple of them. My buddy AJ Garcia, who he owns Dana Industrial, and him and we just kind of met, and I was like, hey, you want to come on the show? And he's like, yeah. And we went for almost like 3 hours talking about life and philosophy. I've had the guys from Platinum Air on recently. Those guys came in and talked to AC with me, and all these guys just have, God, I've my buddy Todd Carson and Jonathan Randolph, one of my neighbors. These guys are just people that you can sit down and talk to and have a conversation and go off on a tangent and then come back. But they're all like really just great guys who it's like, let's spend time together. Let's talk. Let's take what's in your head and get it out. Kind of like what y'all are doing here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd love to have y'all on the show too. And
Yeah, I'll come.
all right, you get to come back to Marbella.
It'll be fun.
We'll
It'll
go
be
cruising
fun.
around in a golf cart.
Hey, I'm down. Like, I remember one thing about Marbella that I remember is like the parade.
Yeah.
And I don't have a golf cart. And so I felt kind of left out. And I don't know if I was salty about that or not. I'm just like, I need a golf cart. But I didn't know where I'd park it anyways.
I know. That's the hard thing now. We all got too much stuff in our garage. So I like to call it lane yachting. So you can come ride with me next time.
Okay.
You might have to hold one of my kids, but
That's fine. That's fine. That's cool. So whenever you decided to start a podcast, was there a plan? Had you done some research? You're just like, hey, I'm going to wing it. Let's go.
I'm going to wing it.
Yeah.
That's my usual, like, MO. I'm more of an idea guy than the execution. And so what I did was I went online, I bought some equipment, I plugged it all up, and I called my, in fact, I was telling, oh God, I just forgot his Ethan. Yeah. Sorry, Ethan.
He shrugged. He's like, it's all good.
It's all good. Yeah. It's been a year since my first podcast. It just popped up. And I called my neighbor, Jonathan Randolph, and I was like, you want to come record a podcast episode with me? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And we started talking about like wrestling and meeting famous people and that. And
it just went where it
went.
went.
And it went where it went. And then I just started asking guys to come over, and we shot the bull. And that's just kind of how we've gone so far. Now, since then, I've kind of had a few more plans, I've refined it a little bit. And I've got a few ideas where I'd like to take it. But,
okay. Yeah, so like if there was a format to it, is there like a time limit? Because I know you mentioned 3 hours. It's hard to talk for 3 hours.
It's surprisingly, it's not really a time limit. I talk for 45 minutes sometimes. Sometimes we go for an hour. I had my buddy Chris Morris come over. He's a realtor, and then he does construction. And him and I, we sat down, and for like an hour before, I was like, I wish we would have had the mic running that hour before.
Yeah.
And then we went and talked 2 hours. So there's not really it's my show. I can do whatever I want kind of thing. So you want to talk for an hour? We're good. 2, let's go. 3. Might have to up my bandwidth a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So
one thing I've noticed, like you'll have really comfortable conversation with people like before.
Yeah.
Before the camera turns on, before you hit record. And I've been there before where I wish that we were recording or on air before, or it takes a bit for people to kind of get comfortable at times.
Right.
And
you
how
put
do you
this
have
thing
you
in
dealt with
front.
that? Yeah, you put it in front of
you put it in
like,
front of him, and it's like nervous. And my buddy Chris, it was funny because, and Perry the same way before. We were talking, we're having a good time to get down, and you can tell they're like, I don't want to make a mistake. I'm like, dude, there's no mistakes. So to get comfortable with it, it's just finding the right question. It's how do you get them to open up?
Yeah.
I've been really big on, okay, what's going on in your life? How did you deal with that? A good question, an open-ended question will start peeling people back and opening up to them.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. I agree. That's true. Sometimes it's hard to get there.
Yeah, it is, and there's always that uncomfortable kind of like, yeah, right there. Yeah, that silence, and you're like, all right, what do we? And I'm trying to read them at the same time. So
yeah,
but it usually works out okay.
Okay, I got you. So what kind of work do? You moved from, was it Cutoff?
Yes.
Cutoff, Louisiana, about 7 years ago. Your wife was over here, figured it out, and then what did you get into?
When I moved here, my first job, I was actually the internal auditor at Moody Gardens. And that was fun, and I loved it. I was doing accounting work. I don't have an accounting background, but I learned it because before that I was doing labor for shipyards. Mm-hmm. So I was running these two, they were like $20 million companies, and I had to just figure it out, which story of my life, just figure it out. And I was doing that for about a year, and then afterwards I moved over, and now I'm working for Swedgelock in LaPorte and Mount Bellevue in that area, and that's doing oil and gas technical sales. So.
Okay,
yeah.
That 146 construction on the way up there, it's going through it right now, isn't it?
Oh yeah. They're demolishing all the shops. That little pink building went down.
Saw that.
People are emotional about that. My father-in-law will even be like, "That was the old ice house, and my dad used to come down and rail and pick up ice on here and all stuff." And I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty cool."
Wow.
But all the Marburgers, that construction is just so bad, and people are like, "It's terrible right now." I'm like, "It's getting ready to get worse."
But hopefully it'll. I don't know, like the time limit on the plans or anything. I actually have been talking to. Well, I guess is that considered KHEA?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it rolls from KHEA over into Seabrook. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really quick, like how that goes. Yeah, because I was talking to someone from the city of KHEA who handles their media, and I'm really excited to hopefully meet with them next week. I wanted to bring them on the show. I'm going to have to ask about that and maybe get the PR answer.
Did you see the new plans they have for the little area where all the seafood places is, like Rosie's, how they want to build up and put a hotel out there? And, oh, man, yeah. That's an interesting thing where they want to do, like, shopping and a hotel and all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, I don't know
That'll
about
be interesting.
that.
Yeah,
that's just going to cause more problems, I think.
You're probably right.
No.
So whenever you were working at Moody Gardens, what was the favorite part? We've had Moody Gardens in before, and there's a ton of stuff that goes on there. Were you able just to like do it, kind of take advantage of all that?
Yeah, in a way, because I was the bad guy. So I was the internal auditor, which meant that I had to make sure that all the money was there. So every time when I'd come in, my job, I had to be like, all right, is all the tills correct? Are we short? Are we over? What's happening? So when something was like really short, then I had to be the bad guy. But then also I had to test the processes that we do. So are people doing their job correctly? Is the bar pouring drinks right? Are they carting? Things like that. But at the same time, I got to go hang out with penguins and monkeys and watch the rainforest get built and Palm Beach and all that. It was wonderful. I still love taking my family there.
Yeah, me too, man. So my son and I had season tickets last year. I think my sister got them for like me and my wife, and then my son as well, just to kind of just be able to go. And so my son got his renewed, but they go all the time. Hey, do you know Paul Whitchurch from Southern Sass, Vineland Moore, and Lake City? Have you met him yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, so he would be a great guest for the Good Old Boy podcast.
Yeah,
I think so. So
can you introduce us?
I can. He's actually on this stream right now, and so I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then I was gonna type in like, "Hey, have you met Buster yet?" But
let's
Paul,
do it.
They're out there off of 518 on the west side of I-45.
Is that Lizzie? Yeah, she used to live in Marbella.
Okay.
Also, and I've met her before, and so I've heard of the Southern Sass and what they're doing, which is pretty cool. So.
Yeah, they got a really cool spot over there. It's a business they're about to hit their 1 year.
Awesome.
But he has his truck, right? And we always joked about he should put on the back Southern Sassy Boy.
Yeah.
Mr. Southern Sass.
Mr. Sass.
But he's awesome, and they do a lot for the community as well. I'm stoked for their 1 year party that's coming up. But yeah, Paul, I feel like he would be a good guest.
Let's get him on.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about this podcast is, scheduling guests and getting them come in, because I work during the day. I got kids, so the only time really I record is in the evening at night or on the weekend if it's free. And now with kids and all, it's hard to get them in. So,
you ever brought any of your kids on?
Not yet. Well, they've appeared on the show.
Sneak guest appearance, like behind everything.
Yeah, I think when Perry, it's not a show if my middle one doesn't like walk in and be like, "What are you doing? Who's this?"
Yeah, now we hit a groove.
Yeah, we're like going good, and all of a sudden it's like, hold on, I need to go put this kid back to bed.
Yeah, I've thought about bringing my son on, who is 6. Like, I even thought about doing it yesterday or the day before, like whenever. So I had to, reschedule some stuff. I wasn't really sure, and I was like, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't want anybody to get stuck trying to come here. I don't want to get stuck here. If anything happens, let's just, adjust some stuff. But I thought about it. I was like, well, maybe I should just bring my son, but I don't know what he would say.
Yeah, that's my boy is about 6, so we got kids the same age, and I've thought about that with all the stuff we have going on. I'm coaching his team and what I've been working with him for, and like trying to get his opinion, because it's interesting what they have to say.
And kids will let you know what's up.
Yeah, they will.
Hey, here's another idea for a guest as well, and they also I'm trying to make sure that I'm tagging them, but I'm going to tag you. So this is Robin. So they own a business in Lake City called Axe Masters. Her and her husband. Have you been there yet?
I haven't been there yet. I want to, man. I passed by it the other day. I was heading to my wife's business partner's house to drop stuff off, and I see you got it over here. Is that your damage right there?
They brought that one in just like as a thing. We want to get it hanged on the wall, but that's from Axe Masters, and I kind of hid it behind there. So sometimes I forget, but I know guests can, because
it's like, oh, we got an axe hanging out right there.
Yeah, it is kind of like a shock, but yeah, that's Axe Masters in Lake City, and yeah, she said, hey, I'll send Rich if you're down. That'd be fun.
So one of the I'd love to do that, and one of the things that we've talked about on the Good Old Boy podcast, and then I'm going to slip you into another of our neighborhood group we have just for the men of Marbella, or we call it the moms group. And and we talked about doing like a big meetup and everything. Perry come cooking, and we talked about possibly doing it at Axe Master. So I'd like to do like a good old boy meetup and just organization. So that might be a good place to do it.
You know what else they do? And this is crazy, but they have mobile units.
Really?
They have mobile units where they have their facility over there. And what's that street? So if you're on 518, it's actually close to Southern Sass. But where the Taco Bell, I don't know, they tore Taco Bell down, but I think they rebuilt it. If you're going west on 518 and you go south, it's Hobbs.
Yeah, Hobbs.
It's Hobbs
That's
Road. Yeah, they have a facility there, but they also have mobile units that they can bring out, and it's built up,
Nice.
really high. I've seen it in backyards for like parties and stuff.
Cool.
It's crazy.
All right.
Just throwing that out there in the universe.
I love it, man. Let's
Can you imagine by the Marbella Park, right? Like the mobile units.
That might be one of those ask for forgiveness kind of situations, which I'm also a fan of in certain instances. So yeah, but that'd be fun. I love it. I'm always looking for good guests and who to come on, and I've had some really cool people just be like, I'll come talk. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about, and I'm like, oh really? That's cool. Let's figure it out.
Hey, I just got some inside information. They said this is from Paul as well, who's watching on our Facebook stream. He said, my nephew Connor's on Buster's baseball team. Good job, Coach. Are you a baseball coach?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a baseball coach, a soccer coach, and as soon as my little girl gets old enough, I'll probably be a dance coach too. So yeah, Connor, that little dude is awesome. So, I mean, I've got a good little team this year. Lou Davila, another one of the guys who's been on my podcast. He's got Lou's Barbershop. You need to have him on too. He coached for the last couple of years with us and Dale. I've had Dale Mills from Outdaughtered, him on the show. He's a really fun guy. So all our kids play together, and these little boys just won the other day. They're doing so good. They're taking these lessons. We're trying to instill discipline and focus and aggression into them and all these little things to get them going, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah. I don't know if I could ever coach because then
Yeah, you can.
I could coach other people's kids.
Yeah.
But I feel like my son, like I would need to have like my wife coach, as well. Because sometimes, I don't know, I don't want to say I'm the pushover, but maybe sometimes I can be. I'm just like, can you please handle this? It's just easier for me. You get results. I don't want to get upset and, to that level. But parenting is an interesting juggling, with family. It
is. And especially for me, like with these teams, like my little boy, I'm like, no, son, you got to get in there. And he thinks I'm being hard on him or singling him out. I'm like, actually, I kind of am, and you're going to get it worse than everyone. Yeah. So, because you're not going to get away with anything, and I got to teach him these lessons, and I got to teach him, I got to instill those things into him.
So what I did after my son it was weird because I loved playing baseball. Did you grow up playing sports?
No.
No?
No, dude. I played golf later on, and that was my thing. But I played Little League, and I was the fat kid. And my coach found out I could take a pitch. So all I had to do was
hit.
Look, this was it. It was like, stand up. All right, you ready? Go. And I'm like, oh, man, that was it. But I got on base every time. So.
Yeah. On base percentage through the roof.
So all-star.
Yeah, I grew up, playing sports, playing baseball. I loved it, and it was fun. And so my son, I was like, I can't wait, T-ball. He's like, I never, okay. And then he wanted to play the next year. I said, all right. And then he was like, well, I'm going to quit. And I was like, well, you can't quit. You can't quit. You're going to finish the season, then we'll talk about it. And I was like, he's going to get far removed from it. And then I was like, hey, you ready? Baseball signups are here. He's like, I don't want to play. I'm like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
So I put him in martial arts, and he's enjoying that, and they really help with the instilling, yes sir, no ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes ma'am.
Which style is he in?
So he's at Al Garza's Premier Martial Arts.
Okay.
They have locations in Pearland, League City, and Dickinson. So he goes to the Dickinson one because it's on the same side as I-45, and sometimes it's nuts to try and get to a different location. So they're actually over by in that Southern Sass and like the Hobbs Road. Axe Master's like little spot over there in League City. So he goes there. So they teach like especially at this age, like a mixture of like, self-defense and like karate, and that they call it martial arts, but don't specifically call it one thing.
Right.
But they do offer like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I don't know, like these other specialized stuff as it gets older.
My boy did that for a while too, and it was like just basically I love that they instilled this discipline in them, and then also awareness and how they're able to do that. And I want to get my boy into jiu-jitsu early. So
Have you ever thought about getting into it?
Oh yeah. As soon as I find time somewhere, if I can get a 36-hour day, I'd probably have time for it. But that's something I'd love to do and
Me
get my
too.
boys involved in. Maybe
Me too.
We should do like good old boy KHEA goes
Let's go.
learns jujitsu.
Yeah,
So-
I'm down. I am down. I've thought about it because even while my son is doing his stuff, there's like another class, like
Yeah.
a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class, and I'm just like looking over there, like why am I not? I should
Yeah.
just be over there. They're doing it at the same time, anyways, and I'm here to
You
bring
get a
him.
gi.
I
you
know
know?
it looks so cool. Started with the
know.
white belt and then earn it with the stripes.
Yeah.
But my wife was like, "What's going on over there?" As they were doing that, because it looks like they're literally like bear hugging,
Yeah.
and then you'll see them like tap and kind of do the roll. I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Well, they're learning, and that's one of the most effective ways
It's
to
a hugging
protect.
competition, baby.
It pretty much is. Who can squeeze the hardest? Do you watch any like MMA or boxing?
Every once in a while, I watched the Cowboy Cerrone fight the other day because I thought that was interesting because I've seen his interviews on how he handles his training. I was like, I want to see how this guy handles in a ring, and the fight got stopped and he lost, but it was interesting how he carried.
Is that
himself.
last Saturday?
Yeah, it was last Saturday.
That was a big fighting day, like all across the board.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I even got subscribed to the ESPN to get all the streaming of it just so I
Plus,
can
yeah.
watch that fight. But I used to go watch the boxing matches when I was a kid with my dad, but not as much anymore. But I appreciate anybody who can train like that. That's some intense work.
Yeah. You also mentioned earlier that first podcast that y'all touched on wrestling. Is
Yeah.
that something that you're still a fan of, or were you mainly growing up, or
Man,
what?
It's changed so much. But growing up, we'd always watch, WWF, Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake, all those tugboat, all those old school wrestlers about how we grew up, and it turned into like, at the time I think Hulk Hogan was going to be at the memorabilia shop,
Yeah.
and we were like, all right, how much is it, and would you pay it? And then they had a couple of other guys, but we used to watch those. We'd go to the wrestling matches as a kid, but now that it's WWE and I've a little more grown and found out like, oh, this ain't real. It's just I've lost my childhood wonder into it.
Okay, so what I've been doing, I go to Reality of Wrestling, and that is right here in Texas City.
Really?
At Mall of the Mainland. I think it's rebranded as like Shops of the Mainland.
Okay.
So there's World Gym, and they have a big spot. And then right next to World Gym is the Booker T World Gym Arena.
He's from this area.
He's from Houston, so he has a wrestling school where they'll train these guys, and they get shots. There's people that have like come out of this area that have made it all the way to the WWE now. But once a month, sometimes twice a month, they'll put on their own wrestling shows. And so me and my wife actually went on the last one. It was the Gold Rush. And so my wife knows I love it because you're up there close. There's probably like 200 to 400 people,
Yeah.
in that spot, maybe more. And so people ask me, I'm like, I don't know, it's full and it's hard to tell. I'm not counting, I'm watching the action.
Yeah.
So there's some like legit guys, and we'll bring them on at times, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh man, I gotta check that out.
And I don't know if your kids are into that stuff at all, or like they flip on the channel and watch, and you're like, you shouldn't watch that or whatever. But I
I'd
promise
love
they'd
to
have
get them
fun.
experienced into that. So.
Yeah, it's family friendly, local. They do like some meet and greet stuff as well, and they give
Cool.
back to the community a lot.
Yeah.
So Booker T's like a legend. He's from
Yeah.
here.
There's another wrestler. God, who is it? He's from Friendswood, and he's got a podcast show. God, I can't remember it right now off the top of my head, but
Is he a big guy or small?
no, he was big time.
Okay.
God, it might be like Jimmy Hart or something like that, or one of those. But he's from Friendswood.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, and I see Paul said Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
Was he's a wrestler? I don't know
Oh
him.
man, he was the guy that came out. He had like a big old bushy beard, and he had a big old 2x4 with him, and he'd run out and be like, "Ho!" and everybody, and he would just be like American patriot, just like he'd walk out and he'd be like, "What is this goofy guy getting ready to?" Oh, he hit him with a 2x4. That's great. I loved him. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Right now it's 10:31. This is KHEA Radio. We're going to take a quick break on the FM. Keep it going on Facebook. We're also going to keep it going on Channel 46. Stay tuned. Man, I need to get Ethan in a wrestling ring. My speaking of not of you, but my cousin, he wrestles. So he's like 20, 21, and he's from Katy, but he wrestles. So I'll go watch him as well. And
Yeah.
they did a couple of matches in Santa Fe that he was on.
Really? I want to get my boy into that just because, I mean, us growing up, we just wrestled each other in the yards and had little backyard fights and stuff like that. But it seems like nowadays with everything with the way kids are being raised, like, got to do something to get them in there. And so I'd be interested. I want to get them in there, get them, both my little boys and my little girl, shoot. So everyone in there.
Yeah, and then a lot of those guys, I mean, with social media now, especially these local guys, you'll see all the training that it takes.
Yeah.
Not only like the shape you have to be in to be able to compete like in professional wrestling, but a lot of them also do like MMA training as well. And so some of them will do like, hey, I'm a real, they do real fights, and then they also do, reality of wrestling and some other stuff. So that's pretty cool to follow.
Yeah, that'd be just something to keep my entertainment a little bit more up. Something to watch how these guys progress also.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Cool. When's the next time do you have it scheduled on the next time you're going to have your podcast recorded?
Well, as we were talking about, I've got some ideas written down, and just to get the time, I'm probably going to record a couple this weekend and get a couple of people in who I've been working on. But I've been dropping these Focus Fridays where it's just a idea or something that I've been either facing or looking at and what I'm dealing with in my life, and put it out there. And it's short 15 minutes, and those are the ones that have been coming out a lot more than the interview shows.
Yeah.
And
is that you by yourself?
Yeah.
For 15 minutes?
15 minutes.
Is that hard to do?
Sometimes, but I get on a roll and I'll just make notes of what I want to cover and what I've been thinking. So, for instance, just a little preview even, how they had school and then they canceled it. And then everybody's complaining about why did they do this? And it's like, you need to change your focus on this. Be grateful. Where's your mind going right now?
Yeah.
Is it always to a person? And we know these people who are always like, man, everything's so negative and everything's someone else's fault on them. And it's like, nobody else's actions should be changing the way that you feel. It shouldn't. Your mindset, how you're focused on what you're doing, completely your own demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were so upset because they had to go get their kids. It's like, okay, you had to go get your kids. You would have had to get them anyway. Go ahead, get your kid, have some time with them.
One thing I look at is just be grateful, because if you turn on the news, even when that first band, Brain came in, you look at Beaumont and Winnie, and that very,
that could have been here.
That could have been here easily.
Yeah.
With something we can't control.
No.
And it could have been. And so whenever they cancel school, you got to look at the positive and be like, wow, I'm grateful that didn't happen here. But at the same time, if I can help in some way over there, and so there's people on my Facebook friends list that were like, let's go, I have a boat, or who has a boat, how are we going to get there? And that's the right kind of mentality. If you can help.
If you can. And even sometimes, a couple of my buddies too, they're like, hey, are we going to do anything for this? And I was like, guys, right now, they've got a lot of people out there. I know that there's probably not anything that we can do at this moment, because we'd have to get all the way over there and everything's blocked off and stuff. Right now, let's just stay focused. Let's listen. And when you hear something that we can take action on, let's try and see what we can do.
Yeah, and I've seen some local businesses and individuals say, hey, if, who's doing something? Can I send monetarily or items? What do y'all need? And those are the things that you can always look at. Maybe you can't go, or you don't know you don't have a boat or a friend that has one. You're not physically able to. But if you're in a place where you can, then you should. Yeah. Why not?
I mean, right now is the perfect time to start looking at what can you donate from your home, like clothes or things you want to get rid of, or maybe you needed to. Now's a perfect time to just gather all that up together. People are going to be collecting that. They're going to need that. So
yeah, I agree. So what's the most important part? So whenever you get those Friday focus things, that's all. Is it laid out just like your ideas, or not really? You just have that.
I kind of just roll with it again. I'll make certain notes of topics, like certain aspects that I want to cover, but it's not like a script or anything like that. And usually it's something that pops into my head while either I'm working out or I'm at work or I'm with my kids or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I just want to share it. It might be something I've read or something I've gone through or heard, and I just want to put it out there.
Yeah. So. To be completely, open and honest about doing stuff like that, I've never tried, 15 minutes by myself, like having a conversation, 1 or 2 minutes, and I kind of be like, okay, this. But to be able to try and stretch myself, like I look at, talk radio, and I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, like sports, and I listen to stuff all the time. Get the guest callers, and they kind of have their topics, and they go over, and there's a producer there feeding stuff in their ear, kind of helping them keep on track. And Ethan's awesome, but he doesn't have the mic.
He's done an amazing job so far right here, Ethan. Good job.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I want to work on for myself, being able to do that, to have that as an option.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like right here, there was no prep for this. There was no anything we had, but we were able to just sit down and talk back and forth and go and laugh and joke. And that's a big part about it, is just relax and be, but willing to be open on what you're going through, what you're experiencing, what you're doing. God, I'm trying to remember the last one I did, but I know it even talked about, like, you know, be open with, the last one I was talking about, where you're going to need to, oh man, now my mind just skipped a little bit. I got so much stuff going on. But about how if you're going to go through something, you're going to do something like this radio station or my podcast or my wife's business or any of those things, you're going to have people criticize you. You're going to have people, and it may be even coming from a good place. You know, I'm sure that, like, you've probably had something happen. I've had it where somebody's been like, I don't appreciate the fact that you did that. You need to never do that again. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, well, when you do your podcast, go ahead. That's great. Or if you know, like I said, if you're eating healthy now and you're sitting at lunch with someone and you order the salad and they order the chicken fried steak and they just have something, watch. It's coming from a good place, but at the same time, you got to ignore those things. It's not a personal thing. Just keep doing you, boo boo. As I like to say, you know, just put that out there, because I'm going through that too right now. I'm going through a process right now, and I've had people ask me, have a cheat day. Why don't you skip that? And it's like, no, I have my plan, I have my process, you know? So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Are you doing that? Like, are you doing some nutritional, like, a thing right now? Or
Yeah, I'm doing the, have you ever heard of Andy Frisella?
I haven't.
He has, he's from St. Louis, and he has a podcast. It's the MFCEO podcast. And it's all about being the MFCEO of your business, of your life, of all that. He's a great motivational speaker. He owns Supplement Superstores and First Form, a supplement company.
Oh, First Form, yeah.
Yeah, First Form?
Mhm, yeah, I know First Form.
The owner of First Form is the guy that puts that out. And he's very motivational. And so he put out a challenge called 75 Hard, where it's 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes. One has to be outside. A gallon of water. Drink 10 gallons of water. A strict diet. No cheat. No nothing. No cheat days. Take a picture every day. Do all that. And it's not a diet, but it's meant to get your head straight.
Yeah.
And
how long is it? Is it for a certain amount of time?
75 days.
75 days.
Yes.
That's a good length.
It is. And it's not like your typical, like, 90-day workout challenge. You know, no, this is, there's no excuses. There's no nothing. If you fail, you start over at day one. So like every day I have a checklist of everything that I'm going to do and the process that I have to go through. And it's been really eye-opening.
What day are you on?
I'm on day 61 today.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So I've been doing intermittent fasting. I've been doing keto. I've been working out. In fact, I've got a group of guys that we go walk in the morning for 45 minutes.
I saw a picture that you posted.
I was going by myself, and then I had another guy come and another guy come and another guy. And so now we're doing that on Saturdays. We go out to the Seabrook Trails and we do like a 4-mile walk, all with our weighted vest and backpacks. So
yeah. With intermittent fasting, what's your window?
I'm doing the 18-hour one. So I'll usually stop eating about 5 or 6, and then I'll eat once again about noon or 1 o'clock. So
that's it.
That's it.
Ooh, so I did some intermittent fasting. So I'm working out at the Iron Den, and Jake, I found out about this from actually a wrestler. His name is Nate Laws, local guy from Lamarck, Texas, and he reps Lamarck, and I love that he does that because I'm from here. You know, I moved to Lamarck at a young age. And there's a lot of cool stuff that happens here. There's a lot of good stuff that happens here that I feel like doesn't get enough spotlight.
Yeah.
And for me to have that opportunity to show a spotlight on some cool stuff in Lamarck, and Nate's the same way. So he goes by Mr. 409, you know, as the area code. And I'm like, that's what's up.
Love it.
Rep where you're from, man. And,
that's it.
And that's what it's all about. So he kind of put me onto the Iron Den. And then I saw I've
seen some of the gym workouts, man. Those guys are serious.
Yeah, so they did a 6-week challenge that they do to get these people in, and it's free. And so I did that. I did the 6-week challenge, and it was awesome. You know,
how you feel after?
I feel great. I feel awesome. You know, I went down 4.5% body fat in that, and my muscle was about the same. And so after that, I went out of town for about a week and a half. Came back in town, and then I did a 28-day challenge that included intermittent fasting. That was the main difference. And then I actually started taking some different supplements that I hadn't before, and then I did that, and I went down more. I went down another 4% body fat. And so on Monday, I started another 28-day challenge that is it's pretty similar to the first one, so it's not intermittent fasting, but it's something they call carb cycling.
Yeah.
So I'm not eating carbs only one day a week, but it's a lot of carbs. So they said if it's a lot, then just do between 2 days.
Yeah, I've heard of that, and there's a couple of programs that do that. I've never done that. I've been doing this keto, and the other thing is no alcohol on this, which is kind of not a problem with where I want to go in life right now. So that's its own. I'm always a designated driver for everyone, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But what's the longest you've gone intermittent fasting?
So for me, on accident, I would do an 8-hour window, and so I would try and have my first meal at 1 o'clock, and I would be done before 8. But a lot of times, whenever you were doing the kind of stuff that I was doing, whether that's like filming or going out, like sometimes you wouldn't eat till 3 or 4 o'clock. And then I would have my first meal, but I would still try and, I don't want to eat too late because I'm trying to wind down and go to bed. So the longest is probably is 4 o'clock and then getting done around 8.
Okay. That's good. But did you feel hungry?
No, because you're busy. Yeah, I'd be busy and not really thinking about it.
That's my biggest thing is I'm not hungry right now. And I used to be like, I need to eat.
Yeah.
And now, I'm down almost 45 pounds.
That's
from
awesome.
Where I started. And got energy. I'm able to focus with the kids and all. It's focused with my wife and my intentions. So I think it's a great thing. I think people just give it a try for 2 weeks.
75 days, right?
Yeah,
That's a long
75.
time.
It is, and this is probably one of the things that I've stuck with the longest. It's a big commitment thing. It's a big stop telling yourself the excuses. I got sick a few days ago on day 55 or so. I was sick, and I was down, and I had worked out in the morning. I had got everything, and that afternoon I told my wife, I'm going for a walk, and she's like, no, skip it. You got to do this. And I'm like, baby, I love you, but I'm going walking. I got to get this in. This is not where it stops. It doesn't stop here. There's no excuses. I'm not going to tell myself the excuse. I was just sick. No,
right.
I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And I got another buddy of mine who's starting it. He's day 35 today. So I've been waking up earlier. I've been putting more in. It's test yourself.
Yeah. And sometimes whenever you do that and you get moving, that's what your body needs.
Oh yeah,
it can help push that out quicker.
Yeah.
So that's today. Well, I went and worked out the Iron Den this morning, but they canceled some classes, I guess, on Wednesday and Thursday because they do the group training, and then so I did it on Monday, and then I have a membership at the fitness center, and I had for 5 years or something like that. So I went on Wednesday and Thursday, and my wife was like, "Are you gonna go work out again?" And I was like, "Yeah, because it's fun." And I tell her, I wish I would have found.
Hit me up when you go, man. I'll come meet you.
You at the fitness center?
I'm at the fitness center.
Cool.
Yeah. And my wife, I told her, I was like, I need to work out yesterday. So me and her loaded up the kids. We went over there. And I was like, all right, I'm going to put you through one of my workouts. And
Your wife?
Yeah.
Was she down?
She was down. My wife's strong. She's good to go.
My wife's not down. I'm like, hey, will you work out with me? And she would be like, yeah, she would. She'd go there. And she's like, well, I'm ready when you are. But she's
So I'm trying to incorporate the flow state of working out. And so we rode the bike for 10 minutes and talked. And then during the workout, it's not really a real hardcore workout, but it's enough to get yourself in there and going. And she was like, I like that. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do this more often.
Yeah.
So.
And it's good for the kids too. They have a really fun spots for them.
Oh yeah. There was no one there yesterday for obvious
reasons.
It
was pretty dead.
Oh yeah, it was dead. We went about 4 o'clock and no one was there. My little boy was upset because they didn't open the play place.
I know. That's
that's hard.
One time my son, we went and they didn't have it open, and I was like, okay, now you get to go to this room. And he was like, well, I don't want to. And I was just like, well, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. I wish you would probably be fine if they just opened the door and let you run around.
I didn't know we were negotiating.
Yeah. You have to. So let's see. Right now it's 10:46. If you're watching on Facebook, share this video out. Let me know, what are you up to today? We're going to go ahead and get back on the FM, and we'll be able to talk for about 5 to 8 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap it up.
That's cool.
Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it is 10:47 on a Friday. I am excited. It's Friday, and we have Buster from the Good Old Boys podcast in studio. Buster, what you got going on this weekend?
Oh, man. This weekend, I think we have a game on Sunday, hopefully, if the rain holds off enough. So I got my little 6-year-old machine pitch team. We're going to be going to the Astros game tonight, me and the wife. Date night. Going to get a babysitter.
Who are they playing?
I think they're playing the Angels.
Okay.
I'm not a big sports guy, man. That's my thing. I don't follow it.
Well, the Angels, I believe they're in second place, but the
Yeah.
Astros have like an 8-game lead on them and already
Right,
clinched the
yeah.
playoffs. But still, like if they can win the American League and be that number 1 seed,
I think they
that's
have a
what
chance
need.
to do it by Sunday.
Okay,
Don't they? Are they that many off? It's the first 100 games, huh?
Yeah, so they won 100 like this week.
Yeah. Okay.
They beat, was it the A's? I don't know. But anyway, they need to get these wins in.
Yeah.
So that way they can be sitting at the top and have a little bit of every advantage helps.
Did you see the memes going around where it's like last time Houston flooded like this, we won a World Series?
I did.
Oh, man.
It's true. So man, the other thing I remember.
I hate that we have to do that to get. Do have to do this to get that?
To get excited, it's like,
Yeah.
well, thank
We're
you, God.
rooting
Like
for
if it
him
works
again,
that
yeah.
way, it works that way. I also saw some other, comments and memes about someone saying, because there was like the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather
Yeah.
boxing match, and that was that same
Oh,
night too.
yeah.
I think so.
I had a party at my house for that one.
Yeah, and somebody said something about like watching a rerun of it, or I don't know, but I do enjoy watching that kind of stuff. But I am definitely rooting, for the Astros. There's a lot of games,
Yeah.
and I know some people who are diehard, fans, and I'm a fan too. But I don't get to go to the games as often,
Yeah.
with the fam. But you're going tonight.
I'm going tonight. Me and the wife. My father-in-law got us 2 tickets, and so we're gonna try and take the kids and do all this stuff. And I told my wife, I'm like, no, we're going on date night. I'm taking my wife out. I want you to dress up. I'm gonna probably put on a nicer shirt, and we're gonna go do that fun.
Yeah, that's important.
She's got a Carrabba's gift card. We're gonna go burn that thing.
That's what we do that too. Whenever it's like day night, it's like, hey, we have these gift cards, and I don't even know where we got them from,
Yeah.
but let's go. We do that when we go out of town
Yeah.
as well. Just bring all the gift cards. I don't know what's going to be there.
My wife's got them in her purse and everything, and they're all set, ready to go. I love it. And that bill comes, my wife pulls the gift card out. I'm like,
Boom, slap that down.
thank you, baby.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Astros pull out a win tonight. You got a game on Sunday for the Little League.
Yeah.
How did those kids do with the machine pitch? Because my son, he didn't quite make it there. to
They're
the machine pitch.
They're awesome. So I've been coaching my oldest boy since T-ball, and I've been really fortunate that I didn't play sports. I didn't do any of that, but I've always been interested in helping any kind of way I can. And so I've had some really good coaches teach me things, and watching these little boys develop and go from like these little T-ball hitters to now cranking almost home runs off of a 42 machine pitch. It's awesome. And then watching them get focused and watching them turn these plays and get excited about it. They handle it beautifully. They're focused. They've got the determination. And the one thing I'm trying to get them right now is like, guys, be aggressive. Like your mom and dad yell at you for running around the house. Let's get them going. Connor, that kid's doing real good. Who we were talking about earlier, watching my boy go after it. I told him, I said, buddy, you don't run fast, so you got to hit big. And then I've got other little kids who do it all. They're great, and it's a great thing to teach these kids. And especially if you've got the families behind you. And for our team, and we're the LSU Tigers, I got lucky on that one. When we have all the families and the coaches and the dads are getting involved in there, and one of the dads is like sitting outside, I was like, you want to get in here and help? And he's like, yeah, I'll get in. Come on, show me. And they'll run them and put them through the drills. The family's all excited. The kids are excited. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
I don't care. And I tell the kids all the time, and I learned this from Lou. And he's like, I don't care if you strike out. I don't care if we lose the game, but I want y'all to put all your effort into it. Put it all. Short memory. You drop a ball, forget it. Let's go to the next play. You strike out, forget it. Go to the next bat. Just building these kids' psyche, building these kids their confidence up. That's what we need to do nowadays for these kids. Teach these kids how to win.
Teamwork, too.
Yeah, teamwork, working together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big part of it. So
one of the things I remember from baseball is being at that age, and I hit the ball. I got thrown out at first base, but there was somebody who scored, from third, and I remember just going to the dugout, and I'm just like pretty bummed.
Yeah.
And the coach being like, "No, we scored.
We scored.
Look what you did. That's an RBI." And I'm like, "What's learning that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's good." And you watch professional baseball, and they get stoked on that. Hey, we got to run on the board.
Yeah.
Let's go. And for me, I'm just like more concerned. I was concerned about me like getting on base because I wanted to score. But you knocking in a run is just as good as me scoring.
Exactly.
It's a teamwork thing.
Oh yeah. it's the biggest thing to teach these kids. Like, think other than yourself also.
Right.
Think about what can you do for these guys? What can you do
Right.
for this guy? How can you help benefit everyone? So
That's the other thing I was going to say. Whenever we have these like nonprofits and volunteer groups come in, I ask, hey, is it important? And at what age should you start teaching kids that they should volunteer? And that starts at the parents or organizations, just showing the kids like, hey, there's life outside of us.
right.
There's other families that need help, and if we're fortunate right now, that's awesome. Thank God,
Yeah.
and let's help whenever we can.
I had to teach that lesson to my oldest boy this past weekend at the Sawyer Strong 5K. Thank you also for having Jared and Crystal on here. It was a big success that day. They raised $14,500, which
That's
paid for a
awesome.
whole therapy.
That's awesome.
The goal was $12,000, and they got more. And I'm helping DJing and doing some things. They had the 1K and the 5K. My little boy got to do the 1K, but he wanted to ride his bike in the 5K. But he was also running the snack booth. And he was upset because he wanted to run the 5K. And I had to sit him down, and my wife and I sat him and said, son, look, today's not about what you want to do. Today's the day about helping. Today's the day about service. Today's the day about being there for your fellow people.
Mm-hmm.
And he soaked out. I was like, I want you to see what you're doing today. And at the end, he was all excited. He's like, we sold so many snacks and cookies, and we helped raise money for Sawyer's therapy. And I was like, there you go, son. That's what I'm proud about.
Mm-hmm.
You see that. So these kids learn it early, and they just become better little humans.
Yeah, and then stick with it, and
Yeah.
then it's contagious. Like even you talking about working out, getting other people to, and then if a kid's excited about volunteering and being able to help
Right.
other people, and it also gives you a good feeling.
Yeah.
And if kids can taste that young, then they'll be, they'll be hooked.
Yeah. I love it, too, and teaching my boy, like you said, with the working out. I'll take my bike, his bike, and we'll go for a 45-minute ride, and he comes with me. Or if I'm in my garage working out, I got them with me. They're watching what you're doing, so you better set a good example of them.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to be the dad sitting on the couch getting fat,
Yeah.
because I did that for a while.
My daughter, whenever I come home, sometimes not even from like working out, she's like, she's 2. How was your exercises today?
Uh-huh.
And if I am, I'm like, they were great, thank you. But just for them to see,
Yeah.
it's important, and hopefully setting a habit for them. Is there anything else you'd like to share while you're here? Maybe remind people how they can find your podcasts.
Yeah, you can find me, Good Old Boy Podcast. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Stitcher. I'm on Spotify, Google Play, all over. We're on Facebook and Instagram, so we're pretty easy to find, I think. So if you can, go give us a follow, a listen. And if you're a good old boy, a good old boy, I always say, come on by. Let's sit down and talk and see how you're living life right. That's our motto, live life right.
Awesome.
So
Well, thank you for hanging out.
thank you for having me, Gardner, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, y'all be blessed. Have a good weekend. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Bye, Facebook. Y'all be good.